Thursday night, 6:30. Garnet Old, no inside info, no contacts, no problem. Vince, we did the show a little early. It worked out good for both of us. You're flying out of an airport, and I am the day before my big move to Orlando. So we are doing the show a little early tonight.
Yeah, Garnet and Old, no inside info, no contacts, no problem. And we are consistent. If nothing else, we will do a show on Thursday night, regardless of the circumstances. So here I am in beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan. By the way, very cool town, Ryan. I think they are the current Beer City, USA.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more time to spend here.
Yeah.
I'm here for work, but I wish I had more time to go and see some of the breweries and some of the museums and all that kind of thing. But Grand Rapids, you're doing it right.
Vince, may I say that you look rather dapper today?
When I left, after I left, I appreciate that, Ryan. I know you got me. After I left, I had texted my wife and said, I forgot my hat, like my Florida State hat, and I knew where I was going to do the show, and so I had forgotten it. So luckily, I've got the Scully here.
Yeah, legend of Bagger Vince.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll sell you some newspapers if you're lucky.
I do want to shout out Renegade Report Live here in the chat. Good to see you. Vince looking suave.
Yeah.
Rico Suave.
It's interesting, and I know a lot of the Florida State shows and all those guys, like, that's their main gig, man. That's what they do, and man, I don't know how you guys do it. Good for you. But this is like a dual life for me, and it's a dual life for Ryan, right? So you're seeing a little bit of the non-Florida State Vince this evening.
I'm still repping. See,
and you should.
I saw the flicker on the camera, Vince. I'm going to take care of that after the show.
I didn't notice it at all.
All right, so here's the thing. Nothing happened with Florida State this week, right?
No. Excuse me. Nothing happened. But, last week's show was kind of like, we had really nothing to talk about except let's continue to complain about, the pit that we're in.
Right.
But at least this week, we have some actual things to talk about. And I was kind of going back and forth, Ryan, about what should the title of the show be? What should be the banners? Mm-hmm. Thinking like light at the end of the tunnel, like all this kind of stuff. But it really comes down to, from what for me, it's like there had to be consequences to this season, for this season. And that's what we saw this week.
Yeah. Now, Vince, give us an overview. I'm going to fix something on my camera real quick. Give us an overview of what firings took place, Vince. Go ahead.
Yes, everybody knows already, but I'll go ahead and rehash it while Ryan does some technical work here. Alex Atkins fired. And fired's, man, such a strong word. I mean, that is what happened. But let's just say Alex Atkins has been relieved of his duties. Adam Fuller also relieved of his duties. And Ron Dugans also relieved of his duties, and to get some middle school humor in here, this whole season's been duty, and if you think about where we were not more than a year ago, and all these guys got a contract, extension and a raise, and it was kind of hard not to do that because they were, at this point, they were 12-0, I guess. Just about to be 12-0. So it's kind of hard to not do that. But, we definitely know, we watch this team a lot. That there were chinks in the armor, even through last season as well. And they really, came to the forefront. There's been a lot of discussion, or there's been a lot of angst from my standpoint. It's like, when is the time going to be? When is the time going to be that there are going to be consequences for this season? And I thought it would have happened after the Miami game. That's when I thought it was probably going to happen. But if we had to wait a couple weeks more, then we did. But it was the right move. And I do not feel sorry. A lot of people say, I feel sorry for those coaches. I do not feel sorry for the coaches. They're good guys. They have great families. and I'm sure they're all friends on that staff, but ultimately, you are brought here to do a job, and the job isn't being done, and also they're being paid handsomely to not coach. So I'm not one of those people that's like, I feel bad for these guys. Do I wish it would have worked out? Sure, because I'm from the old school mentality of, Bobby kept his staff for such a long time, and the more you have that continuity, I think the better. But let's also face it, not there weren't too many great recruiters on this staff either. And Ryan's back just in time for me to hand it back to him.
My first take, Vince, and by the way, you have to back out if you ever remove your webcam and plug it back in. You have to back out of the session
That's
and bring
right.
it back
That's
in.
right. That's right.
Perfect. That makes sense. But listen, my first reaction when I saw the news, I was wrong. My prediction was that Mike Norvell would be fired in the next 2 or 3 weeks because of how desperate the situation had become, how terrible we had looked, some of the coaching decisions in the last few games. Because a lot of that, that's head coaching decisions on when
Sure.
to go for it, when to, and that was really weighing on my mind a little bit. So hashtag Ryan was wrong and hashtag Vince was right. We should start that for Vince all the time because he tends to be right more often than not. But
But why
when
is that, Ryan? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm right more often than not.
fair, fair and balanced, Vince.
I
That's
just, I don't, I'm just not knee jerk about stuff. And Ryan, you are very much kind of extreme. When you're done with Mike Norvell, you're done.
mm-hmm.
And I'm more of a measured. I take a more measured stance with him.
Some would say you're healthier approach to it.
Well, I mean,
All right, but here's
it's
the
the age
thing.
of wisdom or the wisdom of age, right?
Once we knew for a fact that it was happening, right? Once I knew of all the firings, the one I was most surprised about was Fuller. I kind of expected Atkins, because you have to look at what the main problems were on the season. The defense had bright spots, and so what I thought would happen, Vince, is Atkins would be fired and Dugans would be fired, and I thought Randy Shannon would be fired. I actually thought there was a good chance that Fuller was retained because you could make the argument that the defense played well when they thought they had a chance in the game, and by the time it was clear that the offense would literally not score again, how long do you want a defense to be on the field before they just go, man, what do we like? This is exhausting. Like, how am I supposed to even come out here? It's one thing for us to say, no, you should always go play hard. It's another thing to be in that situation game after game after
Yeah,
game
yeah.
after game. So I thought that if Mike Norvell wasn't fired, that Fuller would be retained and a bunch of other coaches would lose their job. To my not dismay, but like, oh man, I know Randy Shannon will probably still be fired,
Yeah.
almost definitely. But man, when I heard like, and Randy Shannon will serve as defense coordinator for the rest of the season, I'm like, because I know why they had to do that, because you have to have someone coordinate the defense.
That has some experience.
Randy Shannon has done it and has been a head coach before.
Yeah.
So he has that experience. But man, Vince, you have to imagine it was heartbreaking for Norvell to especially let go to Fuller because of their past together, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Coach at all, other than meeting him,
Mm-hmm.
But from whatever anybody's told me and what I've read, he's very much a people person. He's a relationship guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
that stuff matters to him. So I know that it killed him, not just for Fuller, but for all of them, man, because it's an unimaginable. I mean, it's not unimaginable. I mean, I've had to let people go, Ryan. You've had to let people go,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes for valid reasons, or always for valid reasons, but sometimes it's a little harder than others because of the relationships you have with people. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But when you're getting paid $10 million a year, sometimes you got to do some of the jobs that don't that you don't want to do. And it is the right decision to make. I'm totally in agreement with you. Randy Shannon is not going to be part of this staff after the last game of the season. And I don't have any inside knowledge in that other than logic.
Yeah.
So
And it reminds me of, and you brought up like people that we've had to let go in the past, and you're absolutely right, because there have been times when I've been told, hey, based on the performance overall of this department or of this group, we're going to go ahead and the company, are going to
yeah,
make the decision to move on from this person, and you get to deliver the
you
news.
you get to be the guy, right? Right.
And sometimes there's been times in the back of my head I've been like, I disagree with this, because whether it be I didn't necessarily agree that that person was the reason why that problem was happening in the company, whatever it is. But this is different because it really comes down to the only other person that you could blame if you wanted to not make the decision is yourself and fire yourself, which isn't
Yeah.
going to happen.
Right.
So this is Mike Norvell knowing that if I don't make these moves, I'm done. And he had no choice. Now, the one I'm most intrigued with going forward is Alex Atkins. Mike Norvell made it very clear that it doesn't have to be like an offensive coordinator / O line coach, meaning
Sure.
he is
Mix and
open to
match.
the possibility of someone else calling the plays. Now, I would prefer that be an absolute certainty. Now, he's not going to tell you that until the decision's made, right? And then I'm sure once we hire the coordinators and they come in and they have the press conference, he'll make it clear like he's going to be calling the plays, right? But I think that is an absolute necessity, Vince, that Mike Norvell focuses on being a head coach, which has always been my preference, by the way. In every program that I see across the country, if I was building a college football program and I was the head coach, maybe for the first year or 2 years, if I felt like I really need to be in the weeds and getting stuff fixed, I could call plays myself either on defense or offense, if whatever my specialty was. But I
Right.
believe part of the maturing process that most college coaches should go through is that eventually they hand off those duties and trust coordinators and make good hires, and then they oversee those people making it's literally director and then managers reporting to the director. That's how it should be. So
Yeah.
I'm 100% confident that he is going to go get an offensive coordinator that calls the plays. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's opposed to it, which is different than some of the coaches we've had in the past,
Hmm.
recent past. Um, everybody has an ego about what they do, and they want to be known as good at what they do. But
Hmm.
I don't think Norvell is necessarily married to the fact that what good at what he does has to be play calling.
Yeah.
I think ultimately good at what you do for him has to be program CEO, right?
Yeah.
It's so much different now. Bobby was ahead of the game on this, but it's so much different now. Where if you're in the weeds too much, so many things can get out of control,
Hmm.
and you don't have a large enough vision to we're almost to the fact like I don't know that I can fire this guy because or I let this guy go because I don't know enough about it because I've been too in the weeds myself, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm fully expecting that to be the case, and it's something that I think he's ultimately going to be good at. He's an organized guy. He is a vision guy. He is a relationship guy, and he
Yeah.
has aside from this past season. Okay, you cannot look at this past season and say Coach Norvell doesn't hire quality staff just because of this past season, because you can't be that short sighted. Like
Yeah.
in over time, he is shown to hire and bring on quality people on the staff. Now, the key for this next round, though, is he's got to hit a home run on this
Hmm.
because his seat and someone put in here only way to save his own butt, right? And by the way, it looks like the comments are working, which is great tonight because they weren't in
Yes.
the last show. Um, I do think that you know he obviously is responsible for the whole thing. And so this season is his responsibility. If it happens again next season, I'm not so sure that they let him go even next season, unless it's like 1-10 or one and 11, whatever. But at some point, it's going to be lame duck esque if he doesn't hit this right.
Yeah. And I think, to be frank, Ron Dugans, that should have happened a long time ago. I think many out there would agree that I don't think Ron Dugans is a great wide receivers coach. I have never thought that. He's never. What happens with Ron Dugans is he got saved by Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, who are two freaks.
Mm-hmm.
If you take those guys out of the picture, we haven't produced any wide receivers that he's developed. So it's been that he's had luck getting guys in that were ready to go. And Vince, you want you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just making sure that that announcement was not for me.
So when I'm looking at it, big picture, I think Ron Dugans, good guy, nice guy, seems like, but he hasn't really developed a single wide receiver here at Florida State. He's only had success with guys that have come in ready-made and ready to play. And I think it's pretty widely known out there that Keon Coleman might have been telling people like Ron Dugans is terrible, like don't go
That's what
there.
I hear. That's what we hear. That's what we read.
So let's go out there and let's get a kick-ass wide receivers coach. I would prefer to go to the NFL for wide receivers coach.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do agree with you that Dugans was never anything special. And you look at Odell. Like Odell is a proven commodity. Is he the greatest recruiter of all time? No. But he's a proven commodity that brings guys in, develops guys, and puts them in the league. He is.
Yeah.
So you've got a pedigree there of a Knoll that came in and did great work, and he continues to do great work. I don't know what's going to happen to him after the season. Maybe he retires. I don't know. But all these people that are out there, Ryan, talking about, well, we need to get, like I saw somebody put, we need to get Drew Weatherford in here as a coach. Like some of these guys are not coaches.
Yeah.
But people are so like, we need to get, all these former Knoll players in here. Like
Just because they have feelings. That's what got us into this, man.
it's, oh my gosh. And you're not going to change people's minds because it's social media and it's all feeling based, right? And, are there some former Knowles out there that might make great coaches? Absolutely. Derek Nicholson would be one, right? Antonio Cromartie, maybe, right? But people are throwing out
Rick's stock still up.
people are throwing out names just because they put on the uniform, man. That doesn't mean squat.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean anything.
That don't mean diddly do.
It don't mean diddly do. So who knows what's going to happen with that, with the coaching staff. But I want to make sure we get to the other topics as well, Ryan. So anything else you want to wrap up with the coaching?
No, nothing else on my mind as far as the coaching goes, other than I think Randy Shannon, and I don't know if it will be through firing or retiring. I don't see I don't see Odell being back next year. It's just my gut feeling on it.
The only way I think he comes back is, well, and this is true not just for him, but Norvell has to be more keenly focused on kick-ass recruiting, and not all the coaches, but you have to have 2 or 3 guys that are lights out elite high school recruiting guys. You got to have it this time.
Speaking of recruits, Tramel Jones decommits, but then Vince, the big news of the day, out of nowhere, right? We get we get another
Fong
commitment.
bomb.
Yeah, the Fong Bong
Oh, did he
bounced.
commit though?
No, but
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
it's going to happen. And by the way, go look at that kid's tape. Uh, if you haven't already, he's like a tall Johnny Manziel in the pocket, and I'm not even
Yeah.
joking. Even the throwing motion, very awkward, but in a good way. Like he can easily push the ball down the field from awkward angles. Man can get out of the pocket. He's one of the fastest guys I've seen as a recruit, where he just makes magic. I'm really excited about him. So go check his tape out because he looks like a
That's
taller
Carter
Johnny
something,
Manziel.
right?
Yep. Mhm.
Card or something. So a lot of people in the chat here are totally agreeing with us. We need recruiters, man. We need
Yep.
recruiters. We got to get
Go.
recruiters on this
Hell,
staff.
I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be mad if you brought Jimbo in for some kind of analyst role and just let him go recruit.
Yeah,
Analyst
that's
role, not offensive coordinator.
problem
Just
with
let.
him is he doesn't have good relationships with anybody there. So
Yeah, Carter Smith. So guys, after you watch Garden Old, and we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute to let Vince get boarded here in a minute and everything, and then I got to finish up packing the rest of my house.
we got a couple more topics we want to get to quickly, though.
After this show, go watch Carter Smith's 2023 tape. Incredible, Vince. Inc- some of the
Yeah, and
best quarterback tape I've seen in a long time.
yeah, and by the way, I'm not happy that Trammell decommitted. I mean, he's a local kid for me. I would have loved to seen him come and play for the Noles, but the kid needs to do what's right for him. So no ill will on that.
Yeah.
This is an interesting time for the program.
All right, Vince. What else you got, sir?
Well, Ryan, I got a phone call. My phone rang last night about 6:30 ish from the Seminole Boosters.
Mm.
I think they were wanting to find out if I was going to join this Zoom call. Were you part of that call, Ryan? Did you
I
did you
was
tune
part
in?
of packing till 11 o'clock at night.
Oh,
That's what I
all
was
right.
part of. Yeah.
So the boosters had a call last night, and you know I didn't join it because I was at dinner. I was at a work dinner, so I didn't get to join it. And by the way, Seminole Boosters, you robocalled me, and I actually answered because it said Seminole Boosters on it. But as soon as I heard Robo Voice, I hung up right away.
Hmm.
If you're going to call me out of the blue like that, it better be a person on the other end. But I might have joined the call then at that point because I feel a little bit better about that. But Alfred said some things about that there is some interest in the job and or in the jobs, and the jobs are names that you know.
Of
What do you
course.
think about that? What do you think about that, though, Ryan?
I think you would say that even if I believe him, first of all, but I think you would say that even if there was no interest in a job. Vince, I honeymooned as a recruiter for a little bit, not in football, but in just IT.
Yeah,
Uh, when I would post something, I would post something on social media or LinkedIn. I would say, "Hey, new job posted. Apply as soon as possible. A lot of interest in this role, or whatever it is." So I think it would be insane to not claim that you were getting your doors busted down by so many candidates. Yet I would trump it up, be like, "I've got so many. I had to turn them away. I had to turn them all away." That's what I would do, Vince.
yeah.
I would over embellish, but I do believe we have some good name coaches. I don't know how much I read into it because I think they would say that no matter what.
No, I mean, I hear you on that. He is going to say that, and it's the right thing to say, or don't say anything at all, right? Because you're not going to say, yeah, we've got these open spots and we're not hearing from anybody. That would definitely not something you would want to do.
You know what they say
So
though: say a little, say a lot, say nothing.
say nothing, yeah. But so that was something, and then Alfred also posted some graphics about the Noles continuing to lead the charge in terms of media eyeballs, and he had a graphic there across where the Noles would fit in, with the Big Ten, the SEC, and whatever. And even as bad as this season's been, and it has been horrible, man. And we're on prime time all the time, regardless, except for this coming weekend. Um, and and so I had tweeted something out last week about you know that the boosters need all this money. They need this money for many different things, and they are they're reaching out and trying to get more money, and yet we had not heard anything in terms of changes for next year yet.
Yeah.
And that's tough for anyone to swallow, regardless of your financial status, right? So now that we've gotten some coaches that we know we're going to have some change in the air, I think you're going to see some momentum as far as the dollars are concerned, which is good. We need it.
Yeah. Hey, no matter what. They're gonna always keep asking for money because that's modern college football. But come with some information when you call us, guys. You know, we're
Yeah, I
waiting.
mean, our Wilmer says here, and he's right. I mean, I know they don't have the manpower to make in-person calls all the time. But man, I'm telling you, I wasn't expecting a call on a Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. from the boosters. Actually, I probably should have been because I have not gotten my call yet as a booster. Right, I haven't gotten that call. Which, by the way, I guess I'm not important enough. But um, but if you're going to call me out of the blue like that and hit me with a robo, I mean that those are one of those things that you have to find a way to do that better, do better.
I think it'd be better if they wanted to let you know about a call or something like that. A text, I think, would be more appreciated than a call, a robocall.
Sure, yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I've been anticipating my, my booster call about my renewal. I've been anticipating it, haven't gotten it yet. So when that
Yeah,
call came in, I assumed that's what it was for because I forgot they were having that call. And then when I got AI voice, I immediately hung up. So what was the
perfect. Well,
last thing I had on the topic list? There was something
uh,
else.
we've been going.
I think I talked about the booster call. Hold on, let
No,
me.
the CFP rankings, Vince.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Man, people are all angry about the college football playoff rankings, and I'm
The
just sitting
show,
back.
guys. The show is made for ratings,
I'm
guys.
just sitting back laughing, hearing people say things like, "We've been telling you." The Noles have been telling you for a whole year now that the whole thing is a complete sham, and some people are just now coming to the realization of what they're up against here. And yes, there are going to be teams that don't warrant it because of their record, jumping teams that are more deserving. It's going to happen. It happened to the conference champion of a Power Five conference last year. So enjoy, people. This is what you wanted. Enjoy. Now that it's your team, good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and the reality is, Vince, the show, the point of that show is ratings.
Yeah.
They want people to controversy, to message boards, to the show the next day, all the podcasts, right? They want conversation. The only one that actually matters is the one that happens on the actual final playoff rankings. That's the only
As
one that
we know,
matters. Yeah.
go back and watch our show from the live broadcast of the college football reveal.
Yep.
You'll enjoy that one, people.
Yeah. Uh, I definitely threw my headset on that one.
Yes, you
Literally,
did.
it was
There
fun.
might have some bad words during that show.
Especially because I was
Um,
about what 5 seconds ahead of you.
yes, you were because I was on the road at the time, coming
So
back
you
from the
knew.
championship.
I said they skipped us, Vince, and you were like, no, they
No,
do.
it's not. That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
I think I said they effed
Um,
us, right?
they effed us. Yeah, that's what you
Yeah.
said.
But let's
Um,
not live in the past, Vince.
let's not live in the past. I'm looking forward to the changes that are coming. I'm looking forward to homecoming.
Mhm.
Next week we won't have our typical Garnet and Old uh, tailgate because I'll be doing some alumni chief stuff. Are you going to the game, Ryan, or not?
No, because it will be not way too. There's too much to do. I am.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
if
That's fine. I
if
just want
you
to make
had
sure.
just to let everyone know, if you've had in 1 week new job and moving in 1 week, it's I'm tapped.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure because I was going to, chat with you about what we could do in terms of Garnet and Old for that day. But
Yeah,
I have some ideas I might be able to accomplish as part of the alumni chiefs. It might be kind of fun.
I will be
Um,
available for a show though, obviously,
okay,
and I should be from the Captain Black Studios,
South,
Orlando.
yeah,
Yeah,
Orlando, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then so that's coming up soon. Um, and other than that, Ryan, I think that's pretty much it.
yeah, and we appreciate each and every one of you for watching tonight. It's a little bit of a weird show, shorter show, since Vince has got to get on a flight and I got to
Live
get
from
back
Grand
in
Rapids.
live from Grand Rapids and live from my last night in Tampa full time. So, hey guys, have a great night. We're gonna send the Chiefs all the damn time. We're gonna
Go
send
Chiefs.
Vince on a plane all the damn time. And everyone, go Knowles.
Go Knowles.